Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eghe and this is Fictional. And so today I'm here to do my February wrap up because the month of February is over and we need to wrap up the book so that we can move forward to other things. So in the month of February I read I think about 15 books. So in the month of February I read over 20 books, which by the way, it's not the first time I'm reading so much, but I just want to appreciate, I just want to like put it out here that last year February I was in a major reading slump. For like 2 months I could not read anything, and this February this year I've just been reading things, so I'm actually really happy about that. But apart from that, I read over 20 books this month, I think about 25 books. So without wasting your time anymore, let us just begin. So the first 2 books I read were from Emmanuel series, which are volume 2 and volume 3 of Solo Leveling. So I started this series last month in January because the anime is coming out this year. I don't know when, but I just know that it's coming out, and my brother loves this series so much with his heart and soul, and he has been begging me for the longest time to start it. And I just decided this year to start reading more mangas and manhwas and graphic novels, and so I decided to pick this up. And so I read the second and third volume in this series, and so far so good. I really don't have anything concrete to say, only that I'm beginning to understand the world in this book more and enjoy it more, and hopefully by the time I'm done with all the volumes in this series, because the series is completed, the manhwa is completed, so whenever I finish the entire series I'll be able to give a more concrete review of this book. But so far so good, I'm enjoying it. Then the next thing I read was Silence is My Mother Tongue by Suleiman Adonia, and this is about a young girl named Saba who comes to live in an East African refugee camp with her mother and brother Hagos. And honestly, this book is just basically about Saba and how she navigates the mini society that this refugee camp forms, and just like there's a lot of misogyny and sexism in this camp, and the patriarchy is thick in this book. And for the most part I felt really bad for Saba because she was just going through a lot of things that honestly I felt like screaming a lot, because some of the things that happened to this young lady are just horrifying, and I wish her all the best in life. I wish Saba and Hagos, her brother, all the best in life, because they deserve all the happiness that they want, because they've gone through it and they deserve it. So anyway, I really enjoyed the writing style and the characters. I really like Saba as a person. She's just a very strong, very resilient person, and I really enjoyed her character, and I gave this 4 stars. This book will make you scream. It will make you get really angry because of the things. Like, there's a particular woman in this book. She's like a patriarchy princess. Like, she's a nurse. And the way the woman reasons, the way she thinks, I was just like, can somebody put this woman out of her misery? Like, why is she still alive? Anyhow, the book was really nice. 4 stars. I don't want to go. If I start ranting, we'll not leave here today, so let's just leave it there. The next book I read was In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. I gave this 4 stars. This is a memoir, so I tried not to be too harsh when judging this book, because I had a problem with the writing style, but I did not want to over criticize, because this is someone's life experience and I did not want to go too deep with it. But basically this book is about this author's experience with her abusive girlfriend and how she got out of that situation and the implications it has on her mental health and everything. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really liked the writing, but it was very raw. The writer wasn't really afraid of expressing herself. Like, you get everything that happens to her on paper, like every single detail of everything that happened to her was on paper. But my main issue with this book was the way it was written. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it used 2 different writing styles. Like, one of the writing styles is in second person POV, and I get that that POV is supposed to make you be more immersed with the book, but I have a serious problem with second person POVs. Me and second person POV, but like oil and water, we don't mix. It's always an issue. So far, all the books I have read with second person POV, I have not enjoyed. And I think the only book at this point that I can think of, I think I've read just 2 books, and I did not really enjoy them or get the most out of them as I should have. I just have a big issue with this writing style, and it's just, we don't vibe. So I had some issues connecting with the book the way I would have loved to. I was not able to connect with the book as much as I wanted to because of the writing style, but apart from that, I really enjoyed it. And there's I think at the ending and some chapters in the book where the author like references other works that are also talking about this topic of domestic violence between lesbian couples. And yeah, I really appreciated that part because for one thing it was informative, and this is a topic that I was actually really intrigued by, like the topic of domestic violence and between lesbian couples, and I would love to read more about it. And so I know that when I'm finally in the mood to do my research on it, I can use this book as a starting point and then use all the references the author gave at the end to also find other similar works and read more about this. So I really appreciated that part. So the next book I read was Love After Love by Eghe. I gave this 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. This book is about Miss Betty, who was recently widowed. Her husband recently died, and she then takes in a new tenant whose name is Mr. Chetan, and basically about her life and her son's life solo and Mr. Chetan, and how they formed an unlikely family bond. Like, it has a fun family trope, which is something I absolutely love in books. So I really enjoyed this one. I think my favorite character in this book was Mr. Chetan. I don't know why. He was just a vibe, and I loved him, and I wanted the best for him. And yeah, the plot twist at the ending, though, it took me by surprise. I was shook. I even cried a little, but it was still a really good book. So 4.5 stars. Next book I read was She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Pakachan. She Who Became the Sun is basically a retelling of a historical retelling or reimagining of the life of the founder of the Ming Dynasty, China's Ming Dynasty. Did I say that well? The retelling of the story of the life of the founder of China's Ming Dynasty, which, by the way, when I saw Ming Dynasty, I was just like, all my years of watching C-drama and K-dramas, historic periods, K-dramas and C-dramas have paid off. I know what the Ming Dynasty is, but that was just a moment. Anyway, so yeah, I honestly don't know. I gave this book 4 stars because I think the beginning of this book, I wasn't really feeling it. It was kind of really slow, and a lot of characters were being introduced, and I was very confused for the most part. But I continued, and I think around the 50% mark, I started enjoying the book more, because by that time the world was already set up. We've already seen all the characters we need to know, and so it was just, the story just went from there, and I just enjoyed it more because there was more action and more political plotting up and down. And yeah, so I enjoyed the book more after the 50% mark, when things started occurring. And Zoo, which, by the way, I honestly don't know if I'm calling this name right, because I'm saying Zoo now, but in the audio book the narrator was saying True, I'll be something like that. So I don't even know. I'm just going to say Zoo for sanity's sake, because I don't know what to do. But anyway, so Zoo now, this character, I actually love this character. Like, I don't feel any connections to her or anything. Like, I don't relate to her in any way. I have respect for her, because she's one of those female characters, those women that if you mess up, if you cross them, they will not hesitate to end you. And I just have so much respect for her, because she's somebody that there's no line. She can cross. She is ready to do whatever it takes to get what she wants. And I find that I love reading about characters like that. So yes, I stand her. She's my queen. I support her. She's my empress. I cannot wait for book 2, because I can't wait to see the other things that this that Zoo is going to do in other books. So yeah, for me this was a solid book, and it's a solid start to a series, and I cannot wait for the other books in this series to come out to just see what other things are going to occur, and hopefully book 2 will not disappoint. So the next book I read is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austin, and I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. The main character, whose name I cannot remember right now, I don't know, she was just, the main character was just something else. Like, she was really funny, she's really quirky, and you find her very relatable. I feel like everybody will find this character relatable. There's just something about her. There's always something that she's doing that you just like, oh sis, I feel you there. Yeah, but the book is actually quite depressing because it deals with a lot of heavy topics, but the way in which it was written and shown to you, it's very funny. It feels light, but it's not actually light. But basically this book follows this main character whose name I cannot remember, and she's a lesbian atheist, but she recently got sacked from her job, I think in a bookstore, and because she needs to pay the bills and everything, she decides to to start working as a church artist secretary, where she pretends to be a straight Catholic. So you can imagine, and she's also obsessed with death, so she's always browsing about death, and a lot of things, just a lot of wild things occur in this book, and it was really nice to read. It feels light. The book feels like it should be like a light-hearted read, but it's not, because it deals with a lot of heavy things like depression and suicide, and it's just a lot. So definitely check for trigger warnings before starting this book. But it was really enjoyable for me. The next book I read was River Has Teeth by Erica Waters, and to be very honest with you, I cannot remember anything that happened in this book. Like, I can't remember the names of the character, but I'm just going to try my best to give you a synopsis. So basically it's about these 2 girls. It's a sapphic book, by the way. It's about these 2 girls, and one of them is a witch, and her mother recently turned into a kind of monster that's killing people. And then the second one, her sister is missing, and the first one thinks that her mother killed the second one's sister. So both of them join together, be team together, and try to investigate and see what's really going on in their town. Yes, so that's basically it. And I can't really remember. It's a forgettable book. I'm really sorry to say that, but like, it's like when you're reading it, it's enjoyable, it's okay. But when you like just let 1 week pass after I finish that book, you forget everything that happened. But in the moment, I enjoyed it. But one thing I'll say for sure is that I would recommend you read the audio book for this one, because I feel like if you take on the physical book, if you are someone like me, and you read the physical book, you might end up DNFing, because I feel like the book is slow, like it's not fast paced. So if you are someone like me and you like listen to audiobooks at times, 2 speed, or I don't know, you just like audiobooks, I would recommend reading the audiobook, because I feel like the book will move faster in audio formats than reading it with your eyes. Like, I feel like if I had read this book physically with my eyes, I would have DNF'd it. But all around, it was an okay book, it was an okay read. I gave it 3 stars. So the next book I read was Love and Other Disasters by Misa Sugura, and I gave this 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's a very cute, it's a rom-com, it's a sapphic rom-com, and it's just a really cute, very light-hearted read. Basically, it's about this young lady whose name is Muzumi, who goes to visit her uncles in, I think, San Francisco for summer break, and then she meets this girl, Willow, who recently broke up with her girlfriend, and so they decide to start dating. But it's fake, in order to make Willow's ex-girlfriend jealous. And meanwhile, this is like the official plan, but Nozomi also has her own plan, where she plans to woo Willow and make Willow see that she's the girl for her, and things like that. This is a very cute, very light-hearted book, just something to read when you are bored and you just need something light. You don't want something heavy, you just want something light to pass the time with. Then the next book I read was the Tea Dragon Society, the 3 books in the series, and this is a middle grade book, and I really enjoyed. This is like a comfort read for me. I honestly don't know how to describe it, but this is like a book after my own heart, and I absolutely love this. I adore this book. This is something that I would actually spend my money on and read almost every month, it's really really cute. Also, I read Princess Ever After. Same thing with Tea Dragon Society. Very very cute book. Definitely. It's very short. It's for children and it's very short and it's cute. Then I read Bingo Love. The same thing with the first two. Very very cute. Very short. I loved it. Although this one I think is more. I don't know if Bingo Love is also for children, but it's also very cute. It's about two black women who fall in love when they were teens, but because of the time that they were brought up, in the 90s, things didn't really go well for them when their parents found out that they were dating. I mean, their grandmothers found out they were dating and they tried to separate them. Fast forward, I think 50 years later, they meet again and they try to continue the relationship where it stopped. It was really really cute. I absolutely enjoyed it. The next book I read was Blessed Girl by Angela Makowa. I know I spelled that name, I'm sorry. And this book basically follows Bonto, who is the South African version of a bronze girl. They call them Bless. And there's the Blesser and there's the Bless. So the Blesser is basically the sugar daddy, the provider, the one that buys them the penthouse, the iPhone, the cars, and the blessee or the bless. I think it's bless, yes. The blessed, they're the sugar babies, they're there to enjoy life, they're the baby girls, the soft girls, they're just here for enjoyment and nothing else. So yes, so basically this book is about Bonto and her life as a blessed living in South Africa, and I really enjoyed this. Okay, maybe really enjoyed this strong word, but I enjoyed this. Bonto is a mess. Bonto has issues. Bonto is not the greatest person in this world. She's like not the best person. She's definitely a very flawed character, but I just really enjoyed following her and her life. It was definitely a fun ride. It was like, this book was basically pure cruise. This is not a book to be taken seriously. Don't come here because you're looking for mad writing style or you're looking for a great plot. Just come here because you want to cruise, you want enjoyment, you want to see someone living the you want to see somebody living in the wild side. You want to see somebody living on the wild side of life, and you're just here for enjoyment. You not come here for stress. Although the book also deals with some heavy themes, like there are also some heavy topics that are talked about in this book. So definitely check for trigger warnings. But overall, this is a light read. It's not something to be taken too seriously. You get, and yeah. But my only issue with this book is, towards the ending, I didn't really like the ending. I found it very disappointing in a way. But apart from that, this is just an all-round okay read. Like, I think I gave this either 3 stars or 3.5 stars. I'm not so sure. And the next thing I read was Yinka, Where's Your Husband by I think Damilare Blackburn or something like that. Damilola Blackburn. Lizzie Damilola Blackburn, and I think I gave it 3 stars or yes, 3 stars. This was actually an okay read. First of all, let's start with the elephant in the room with us. This title, I absolutely hate it. I am very irritated. When I first saw this title, I was irritated. I honestly thought the worst of this book. I did not want to read it for anything. Why? Because of this word, husband. What is husband? Like, I don't like how the word looks. I don't like how, I don't know. I just feel like the word is making fun of the Nigerian accent. That's obviously not the author's intention for using this word, but it just feels like she's making fun of the Nigerian accent. Because, okay, now, when I saw this title, the first thing I did was to go and ask. I asked different people to pronounce husband to see if that's how it sounds. Because I said husband. I was irritated. That's just the point. Let's just go to the review now, because if I continue ranting, we will not leave here today. But apart from my irritation, the book was actually okay. There were some stereotypes in this book that's like some things that were exaggerated for me. They were a bit dramatic, like some of the Nigerian stereotypes were a bit dramatic. But apart from that, it's not like what she was saying wasn't true. It was just over. It's like something Nigerians actually do, but taken to the max. That's what I saw the stereotypes in this book as. I feel like she was just. It was, I think, and another thing I hated was the fact that it was only husband. She kept on highlighting that particular word, husband. Almost in everything. It's like there are some other words that Nigerians pronounce that the accent will make it sound different. And husband is not one of them. I'm sorry. I was okay. I said I was going to stop ranting about husband, but yeah. Apart from that one, it was actually an okay book. This book basically follows Yinka, who is a Nigerian British woman living in the UK, and she is trying to find a husband, like the book indicates, and basically follows her life and the different antics and things she tries to do in order to find a boyfriend in time for her, I think her cousin's wedding. Yes, she's trying to get a date for her cousin's wedding, and she's just, Yinka is out here doing a lot of crazy things for man. And this book is basically about self-love and learning to love yourself and accept yourself for the way you are. So yeah, all around it wasn't such a bad book. Are there certain parts of this book I wish did not exist? Yes. Husbands, for one, I wish she just used the normal spelling, because I don't understand. If she wanted to highlight certain words that Nigerians pronounce, that our accent make it sound different, there are other words. If I wasn't hearing husband so many times, I don't think I would have been as irritated. But I cringed a lot because of this word. I was severely irritated. And then another thing I didn't really like is how I see this a lot for books that are written by authors in diaspora, where they like explain every Nigerian terms. Like they'll explain what an ashoebi is, explain what pounded yam is, explain what it's like. I get that you're trying to take care of the international audience that you probably are targeting your book to, but there are Nigerians here that also read your book, and it's irritating to always see you explain one thing over and over again. We get tired of it too. I feel like it would be better if these words that they want to explain to the international audience, they make like a glossary in the back, so it should just be there, instead of explaining it every time it comes up in the book. Just put a list of the words in the back so that they can easily go there and check for it, so the rest of us that don't need an explanation don't have to suffer through it. But that's not important here. Overall, it was an okay book. The next book I read was Hat Trick by Emmanuel, and this is the last book in the Fake Boyfriend series, and this is a series that I started last year and really loved. I think I gave this book 4 stars, but mostly because of the nostalgia, because I just feel like this is a series that I will forever hold precious in my heart. And I just, the nostalgia, reading this book and remembering all the couples, because all the other couples in the book came back in this last book, and I was just remembering everybody, and it was really nice, so I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read was Audrey by Caitlin Greenridge, and I gave this 2 stars, mostly because, okay, so first of all, this book is about, I've forgotten her name, but this 30-plus-year-old character who has been on lockdown for the longest time, and yes, she's in lockdown, and she decides to go for an orgy, yes, a group orgy party thing, I don't know what they call it. And basically she's sexually frustrated, and she decides to go for this orgy during lockdown. And yeah, that's the best way I can explain this story. And it was like 50 minutes long. It's a novella, and I honestly don't know what to make. I feel like the book wasn't long enough. My main problem was that it was a novella. It wasn't long enough, so I had nothing. There was nothing substantial in this book for me. The writing was nice, which is why the book is 2 stars. It's 2 stars because the writing was nice. But apart from the writing, there was nothing substantial. I didn't necessarily like the character or find her interesting. There was no plot. There was nothing for me. Absolutely nothing for me with this book. And so I gave it 2 stars. And the next is Power Plays and Straight A's by Emmanuel and Saxon James. I gave this 3 stars. I don't know. This book is basically about a straight A student and a hockey player. Oh my god, I actually cannot remember what this book is about. I feel like in the moment I was enjoying this book, but now that I think about it, I can't remember anything. But it's an okay read, that's all I can say. I can't even remember what it's about. I read was The Sweetest Memory by Jane Igaro. Yes, so let us talk about this one. Okay, so this book was actually okay. This book is basically about this young lady, Hannah, who gets a call one day that her Nigerian father is dead, and one of his last wishes before he died was for her to attend his burial in Nigeria. So Hannah then comes to Nigeria, where she meets her half brothers. Did he have brothers and sisters or step brothers and sisters? She shall meet her brothers and sisters that she never knew about, and the family she never knew about, and life goes from there. So this book was written in multiple POVs. So we have Hannah's perspective and perspective from her other siblings, and I feel like this was a great choice by the author, because it was just from Hannah's POV. If this book was just from Hannah's POV, I would not have enjoyed this book as much. Another thing about this book is that the romance aspect of this book, honestly, I wish there was none. I wish this was, because this is categorized as a romance book, but to me there's more family drama in this book than romance, or at least the family drama in this book is more enjoyable than the romance aspect. So honestly, I wish the other author did not even bother with the romance aspect, because it was flat. It wasn't really believable for me. It was too insta lovey, and I don't like insta love. It's not my thing. It's not something I usually enjoy, because it's too fast, it's too rushed. I usually don't believe in insta love. That's the best way I can say it. So if it was just too fast, because this book takes place in the space of 1 week, and then there's some time jumps, but that's not the important thing. But the main part is that the romance takes place in 1 week, and it wasn't believable, so I wasn't really buying it. I enjoyed the family drama aspect more, and also Hannah getting to know her siblings and then bonding. I enjoyed that part more. I actually wish we had more of that than the romance. I wish there was more sibling bonding time in this book more than there was romance. But oh well, we can't always get what we want. Yeah, I think that's basically it. And then another issue, there was also the explaining thing I said for Yinka just now about this one too. That honestly, I didn't really care. There was the explaining thing where you like explain every single Nigerian term was also present in this book, but I wasn't as bothered about it in this book, simply because the main character in this book is a foreigner, and she's just now getting, like, the main character in this book is a foreigner in a sense, and this is her first time being introduced to Nigerian things, so it made sense for them to explain certain things to her in the book. So it didn't really bother me as much as it did in what's that one, Yinka, where's your husband? It bothered me a lot. This one, not so much. It was Zeni, and this is basically a marriage of convenience story. So basically, Zeni and what's his name? I've forgotten the male love interest name. Well, basically, her grandmother dies, or her auntie dies. Zeni's auntie dies, and so she comes for her auntie's burial, where she finds out that her auntie actually left her quite a lot of money, but the only way she can get this money is if she marries a man that her auntie wanted for her. And so she decides to marry the young man. And all I have to say about this book is that the smarts in this book is so good. It's like, it's ridiculous the way the smart in this book is good. It's like, it's up there for me. Yeah, so that's basically all I have to say, that the smart is really good, and then the story is also quite fast and easy. Just a nice story with really good smarts. Anyway, that's it for Zeni. And then finally, the last book we have on this list is This Is How You Lose the Time War by I can't remember their names. I'm sorry, I can't remember the author's name, and I can't even pronounce one of these names, so I'm not even going to try. But basically, this follows two agents who are fighting on the opposite sides of a time war, blue and red, and I don't even know how to explain it, but this book is so strange to me. It's like, I don't think I completely understand what happens in this book. Like, I don't think I have a complete understanding of this book, but I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the first part of the book more than I enjoyed the second part. Like, the part where the agents, blue and red, were exchanging letters and everything. I really enjoyed that part. I especially Blue's letters. Blue was just something else, and I think I loved her a bit. I just liked Blue a bit. And then for the romance aspect, honestly, the romance aspect of the book felt a bit rushed. I didn't even know when they were falling in love. All these people were doing was exchanging letters to each other, and I wasn't really feeling the romance, but yeah. And then the world building, very confusing. I don't think I still have a complete understanding of what went on in this book, but I liked it. The writing style was definitely beautiful, but it was kind of confusing. Like, a lot of the time, the things that this author was saying, or at least the narrators were saying, because I listened to the audiobook, it just went over my head. I was not understanding what she was saying, but I continued, and overall I really enjoyed it, even if I'm still a bit confused, but I enjoyed it. That's that. Anyway, we've come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching with me so far, and I hope to see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and I hope to see you next time.